Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's poppin', Fantasy Champs?
What's going on?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I want the NFL draft to start already. But
I'm done talking about the NFL draft, but that's what our next 3 shows are about after this one.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty amped about that. I think we're 12 days away or 11 days away from the NFL draft. We might actually. Is this Tuesday? Is this Tuesday? It might be 10 days or shorter.
Yeah,
I keep making it shorter, but 9 days. All right, yeah.
9
So
days.
the NFL draft is a short time away. On this one, we're not talking about the NFL draft. We're going to take a break from the NFL draft, and we are going to discuss 5 buys for the 2020. Well, not 2021, but for just Dynasty and overall Dynasty Fantasy Football. So our 5 buys in Dynasty Fantasy Football. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always, in case you don't know who we are.
What's up?
Before we jump into our 5 buys in Dynasty, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps, Instagram at the Fantasy Champions, and Facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, be sure to smash that subscribe button and then leave a review. Leave a review. That's probably the biggest way. I want you to subscribe, but I can't see that numerical value in the statistics. So just leave a review. Say you guys are great or you guys are terrible.
Do something.
Leave 5 stars. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Leave a 5-star review.
Leave a 5-star review really and then say
horrible.
You suck. That's all I need.
But I mean, we got 5 stars. So.
Are we gonna give something away? Is that what I need to do? I got an AJ Brown jersey in a box over here. Signed by AJ. I ain't giving that away.
I was gonna say, would you want to keep that and give something else away?
That's mine. I could give something else away. Though.
Okay.
Anyway, leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below. This is subscribing is the best way you can support the show, and then leave a comment because we want to get these videos in front of more people so we can provide you more content.
Exactly.
More content, more days a week.
Yeah.
More excitement, I guess.
Look, you want to hear from us all the time, don't you?
You want to know what our opinions are on everything?
You have questions about fantasy football every day, especially when you're playing it. I guarantee it. So it gives you an opportunity to listen to what we have to say.
The more listeners we have, the better shot I have at getting sponsored by Bubba.
And you want that, don't you?
I do want that. So, anyway.
You definitely do.
Like and comment. Do all the good things. Let's jump into our 5 buys in Dynasty. We're going to try to keep this. I noticed the 15 to 20-minute shows are more watched than any other shows that we produce. So we should trim that down. But this is going to be not a long one, and the Thursday show shouldn't be long either. So let's start our 5 buys in Dynasty. I'm trying not to say top 5. It really hurts me because it really isn't a top 5. It's not a countdown list. Just 5 people we think you should buy in Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you're asking about formatting, whether it's PPR, half PPR, let's just assume it's PPR.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the differences here. I think we only have 1 quarterback, so we'll discuss Superflex, non-Superflex, what the value might be to acquire a guy like this. So anyway, Let's start with the first one on our list, which is the disrespected Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And we've discussed on this show for the last, over the last couple weeks at some point, that Clyde he was very good last year, and he had a lot of opportunities early in the season. And when you paced out his full season stats and metrics, he actually ended up. Oh, see, you got it ready to go.
Yeah, he had 285 carries. Only 3 touchdowns.
This was pre-Le'Veon Bell.
This was the first 6 weeks of the season before they signed Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell's first game was in Week 7 against Denver. Before that point, 285 carries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was on pace for this. 285 carries, 1,347 yards rushing, 83 targets.
Making noise over here.
For 56 receptions.
It's ridiculous.
The only problem was 3 touchdowns, but that, as we talked about Alvin Kamara last year, It's something in the Chiefs' offense is going to go up. I mean, even if you don't think he's a great goal line back, just getting receiving touchdowns,
Yeah.
a little longer, like he'll get more than 3.
Right. I think too, like you referenced, there's 1,700 all-purpose yards there, paced out to a full 16 based on the first 7 weeks of the season, first 6 games.
Yep.
So this is pre-Le'Veon Bell. When they got Bell, that's when things kind of went to crap for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh yeah. I mean, they split for at least half. Like the next 3 weeks actually. He had 8, 6, and 5 carries.
Yeah, and that's weeks prior. He had 25, 10, 20, 16, 10, 26.
Yep.
So, but after that point, if you pace out the games that he did play to a full season, 169 attempts, 681 rushes, 7 touchdowns, 53 targets, 34 receptions, 274 yards. So he didn't even crack 1,000 all-purpose yards. He did have more touchdowns over the course of that time, from I think it was week 7 to week 14. But when you end up like putting this all together as a whole, obviously they have a lot of vacated opportunities there. Bell's gone, right? He's not taking opportunity there from Clyde. They also have Darrell Williams who's out. So the guy that's behind him is Darrell Williams, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and people are also saying like he wasn't used in the playoffs either, but he was hurt in the first game. Second game, he wasn't used a lot, but they also didn't throw the ball a lot. In the Super Bowl, he only had 9 carries, but they also threw the ball the entire game.
Yeah.
So I believe Le'Veon Bell only had like 3 or 4 carries in the Super Bowl, but Le'Veon Bell had 9 carries for 64 yards, and I remember watching that game.
Yeah.
We were both saying like they got to get Clyde more involved because he was their best player.
Mm-hmm.
Through a lot of that Super Bowl on offense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully going into his second year, they're going to use him like they did in the first 6 weeks of the season. He's going to be the guy. I mean, I saw people on Twitter, man, really do not like Clyde. There's a Michael Carter post, and he said like Michael Carter is exactly what the Chiefs thought they were getting in Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, please.
And stuff like that. And like I've seen so many people saying like Clyde's not even worth, like he's not going to be an RB1, RB2. He'll be a borderline RB3, like stuff like this. And it's like, do people realize he really wasn't that bad? Like I know the expectations were extremely high.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole course of the season, he did not meet those expectations, but he showed flashes of it. He's going to get more opportunity in year 2.
Yeah.
He's still in the best offense in football, arguably. Right. Like, what is there not to like about Clyde?
And I also want to look at weeks 1 through 6
you can get him
this year
dirt cheap, which is the whole point of this show, the buy low. So you can get him dirt cheap.
So Clyde was RB11 through the first 6 weeks of the season last year. That's without touchdowns. So if he starts getting like, let's say he gets 10 to 12 touchdowns this year, he's going to jump from, that RB11 through the first 6 weeks of the season to somewhere around like RB5.
Yeah, he would be top 5. And I'm not saying he's going to do that the whole season.
Right.
But it shows what he can be.
So I think the big question, obviously we have him as a buy. Like if you're in a dynasty league, run out and contact the Clyde Edwards-Helaire manager and say, what do you want to do for him? Now, what do you think is a reasonable value for Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I know I've seen some people on Twitter buy him for like very early, but second round picks, like the 201, the 202, stuff like that. And like if you can get Clyde for the 202, I would be doing backflips. He should be still. Yeah. Maybe not.
Is that on a 12 team
3,
or
but
a 10
I don't
team?
remember.
Okay.
But it was just something I saw on Twitter. But yeah, you can probably get him for at least a late first, which I would still do.
I'm trying to see the
because it's like, would you like, let's say you need a running back and you own the 108. If you don't think like there's a good chance you're not going to get Etienne or Harris. Like, is it? Do you want like Michael Carter?
No,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like, or like, do you
sitting
want
there and discussing the guys after the top 3 in the NFL draft is completely worthless to me.
Do you want like would you want Javonte Williams or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I would take
Travis Etienne.
The only guy that I would take over
Clyde is
probably Najee.
Yeah, me too.
But
but even then, where is he going?
Yeah, that's very true. So for me, like I think I'm trying to figure out how much they value Clyde Edwards-Helaire over here on the Dynasty Trade Calculator.
That's a good value.
Yeah, so 30 is a pretty good value. That is like a late first round pick.
Do you like Etienne? Because I'm pretty sure Etienne already. Yeah, he does show up already.
So Travis Etienne is like
yeah.
almost the equivalent value of Clyde.
So that's like the 105 or one of them.
Yeah. So I think
maybe.
for what is he really in a stand? Or is that a non-super flex?
Is this a super flex?
Well,
in a non-super flex, he's probably the 102 or 3.
Yeah.
Or 104, somewhere in that range. Between 102 and 104.
I guess for me, like, obviously different people are going to value Clyde Edwards-Helaire differently. But I would say if you can get him for an late first round, early second round pick, and there's no other value attached to that, I would be all on board with it. I would be like snatch and grab. Especially if you're a late first round pick, right? You're probably already competing. You need that running back. And you got to start bolstering your roster to go for a championship run this year, and Clyde is a perfect fit for that. So, I think he's on this list purely for me because of the disrespect in the fantasy community of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah. Like, he was pretty good this year, and people were just like, he sucks. And I'm like, okay, this is not, what the hell are you talking about?
Right. That's the thing, is that there's a lot of people that think he really does suck and think he's really not good.
Yeah.
And you might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to the second guy, Cortland Sutton. This is a Rick lover. Rick loves Cortland Sutton. He has for a while.
I am a Cortland Sutton fan. I think
so Cortland Sutton last year, he played in one game, and then he tore.
Yeah.
Was he tore ACL? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think he did it in like the third quarter too. He's
yes.
having an okay game.
So he tore his ACL, and he was done for the year, and he had, a lot of aspiration going into the season. And I think there is some trepidation with the ACL injury, because that's not an easy injury to come back from for anyone in the NFL. The wide receiver position takes a lot of cutting, a lot of
quick movements
and athleticism, and so it's a question of can he do that when he comes in year one and have success. Now, I think long term, he is 25 years old, so there is some concern there. But the season before, he had 125 targets, 72 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I don't know what Denver's quarterback situation is going to look like going into 2021. And I don't know if that's going to have a massive impact on him or not, because if it's Drew Lock, I'm less excited about this, but I think the value is there for him. He's the number one receiver in that offense. He has the ability to add an extra element that they don't have through Jerry Jeudy. I think for me, it remains to be seen how he's going to be utilized, because we didn't even get to see how he was going to be utilized with Jerry Jeudy.
True, yeah.
In that offense. But
I think he was going to play the Tim Patrick role, essentially. So like what Tim Patrick did. So I thought they both could have success in the offense, but
I think this team is like an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, last year their offense wasn't great, but it didn't have Sutton. The offensive line wasn't great. It did have rookie Jerry Jeudy, rookie KJ Hamler, and it wasn't the worst offense in the league. It was like a little below average to average. So you get Cortland Sutton back, you maybe add an offensive lineman, you get Jerry Jeudy year 2. There's hope that the offense is at least slightly better. They do have him at a high value, like the website you're using right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's what he should be worth, but I don't think that's what he's actually worth.
He's actually worth right now.
Yeah. Which is he's using a website to calculate it, and they have him as like what the 110.
Yeah. So late first, early
late
second.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can get him for a mid second round pick right now. And last year at this time, we were talking about Sutton in the same way we were talking about DJ Moore.
Yep.
DJ Chark. Mm-hmm. Some of those guys that are still kind of at that,
him as a
that
breakout
level.
Option.
Yeah. And really, to me, nothing has changed at that point other than the injury, but he's dropped down a tier or two below those guys.
Yeah. Right.
And like in a redraft, very early, but like I saw him going like the 7th, 8th round. I mean,
yeah, that's
just, and we're talking about dynasty here, but that just shows, I think, where people really have Cortland Sutton right now.
Yeah.
And there's a chance they could draft a quarterback. There's a chance like these things on offense improve. But even if they have Drew Lock, he was good with Drew Lock. So
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I think if you can go to the team in your league and say, who has Cortland Sutton and say, what do you want for him? And he goes back to you with an early second round pick or a mid second round pick. You take that all day. He's got a decent, I don't know how long, like how many years do you think he has left to produce?
He's only 25.
I feel like all wide receivers are 25.
I think he's got
Every receiver is just 25 years old and we call it that.
I mean, that's like probably like 5 to 7 years.
Maybe.
32 is like where you kind of.
Yeah, the 30 years old is usually the cutoff deadline
And
for
Julio's like 33.
Yeah, but he's like a legend.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, if they come to you with a second round pick and that's what they want for him, I think that's highway robbery for a player that, actually did well. I think it was our wide receiver 2 in the season before. And I wish we had more I guess more of a sample size from last year besides week 2, where he had 6 targets, 3 receptions for 66 yards and 0 touchdowns. Like we can't really do anything with that over the course of a full season. So, we'll see what happens, I guess, with Cortland Sutton and his usage in the offense. But I definitely think he's a buy.
Yeah, me too.
Another guy that's getting disrespected right now, completely disrespected, is Tua Tagovailoa. He comes in, and all I've heard, and we know Miami's not going to do this because they traded out of 3. They have the 3rd overall, and then they traded out of it to 12, and then they traded up to 6. Now they're trying to trade down again. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing over there. Just collecting picks at this point.
But it's weird, like, and I said this to you before the show.
Yeah.
They traded from 3 to 12, got 2 first-round picks, but they traded up from 12 to 6 and traded one of those first-round picks to move up.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then they might, like, I don't.
So anyway, just don't really pay attention to what the Dolphins are doing over there with their draft picks. But it's clear to me that they don't care to draft a quarterback. You don't draft Tua Tagovailoa 5 and then go out the very next year after he did better than some of these rookie quarterbacks. That
I was gonna say for a rookie quarterback, it's because he was compared to Herbert.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's just so unfair.
And before that last game of the season, which he did stink, before that last game against Buffalo, he had only 2 interceptions on 10 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like that was really good.
So let's just go. Let's go off those games. The games that he started, from week 7 to week 7 to 15. Okay, I'm sorry, week 8 to 16. So not including week 17 when he threw 58 passes and 3 interceptions.
He had a good fantasy game.
So he had a 64% completion percentage. He was pacing out to 2,888 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. For a rookie, that is a pretty
6 rushing touchdowns as well.
6 rushing touchdowns as well. So for a rookie, that's a pretty darn good rookie season. There's fantasy value to be had there.
Fantasy potential, at least.
Yeah. And so but I think when people watch Tua on tape, they have this concern that he's going to end up being like he wasn't throwing it down the field, right? Yep. He wasn't trying to like take risks, which is why he only threw 4 interceptions.
A lot of people blame that on the offense being very conservative for him.
Right. And I think that's what happens with most rookie quarterbacks. I think there are rookie quarterbacks who come into the pro game and have way worse rookie seasons than this guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'm alone in that, but it's like there are people who have, like, Drew Lock was bad last year. What was his second year in the NFL last year?
Yep.
So it's like,
Tua is much better than Drew Lock.
Yeah, and Daniel,
he's better than Sam Darnold, better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah. So like I think for Tua, you got to give the kid some time. I think for the sake of everyone gets sweaty around the NFL draft and they want 25 quarterbacks to go in the top 25 picks. And it's like they're just, it gets a little bit ridiculous. Like Miami drafting a quarterback and then having Tua, or trading Tua away to get Deshaun Watson. That was all a pipe dream. And they don't even care to do that anyway. So for me, I think they want to move forward with Tua. They want to make him a featured part of their offense, clearly. I don't even know who the second quarterback is in that offense anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's clear that they're going with Tua.
Yes. Yep.
And so that being said, knowing that Tua likes to rush the football, knowing that Tua had the ability to throw the football almost through 3,000 paced out yards last year over his starts, and he threw 20 touchdowns. Like, I think he could easily get up to 3,500 to 2,000, 4,000 yards, and 25 to 30 touchdowns. I think he could easily do that in an offense where they're going to have a young star wide receiver most likely come in, or Kyle Pitts, or
even if it's like Penei Sewell like
Right.
a star offensive line.
And their offensive line has made some improvements as well. So I think there's a lot of variables there. And I think when you go on Twitter and you see the Twitter fiends, they're all like Tua blows.
Oh yeah,
And I'm like, don't listen to those people. Go buy Tua now.
That's kind of why you do it, because again, Tua, you can get him cheap when he's really shouldn't be. I mean, Dynasty Calculator is pretty good with accurate. What guy should they actually have him lower than Clyde, which is interesting to me, and I don't know if that's how it should be. And I'm a big Clyde guy, but
and that's
again,
in a super flex league. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, you're gonna spend a late first round pick most likely. Like 106 or 107 for him.
I mean, I know you love Mac Jones, but just taking in the style of their play or how often Mac Jones is going to run. Let's say he doesn't go to San Francisco, because I think that changes the argument.
I like Mac Jones in real life, not in fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. But you rather in fantasy?
I would rather have Tua.
So like, and then depending on Trey Lance's spot too, you'd probably rather have Tua. I mean, I guess it depends on where Trey Lance goes, but and that's where you're going to get. Because you're not going to get him for the 101 or the 102, but 103, 104, 105, like anywhere past there if you need a quarterback.
Yeah, in a super flex league, in a super flex format, 105, 106, 107 is pretty decent value, especially when you're talking about you're more than likely going to have the Trey Lances, like Rick just said, the Trey Lances and the Justin Fields and the Trevor Lawrences and the Zach Wilsons come off the board in the top 4 or 5 in a super flex rookie draft. And you're sitting there with your choice of Mac Jones, Kellen Mond, or if you need a quarterback, and you're screwed. Right. So go out, get Tua for the 104, 105, 106, 107, or 108, and you should be all right. In a standard non-superflex league, he might be worth a third-round pick. So, you know what I mean? Late second, early third. That's what I would use to acquire Tua. But just reach out to the team that has
someone
him.
in your league might be a big Tua fan and owns them. Obviously, you're not going to get them then, but I think there's a lot of people down on Tua.
Yeah.
And if you look at their team, it's his second year in the league.
Yeah. That's
a plus. You get Will Fuller. That's a plus.
This year's do or die for Tua.
They didn't really add, or they didn't lose anyone on offense, did they?
No.
So you're getting Will Fuller added. You already have Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Myles Gaskin, Preston Williams.
Yeah.
They're probably going to draft. They have 2 first-round picks. They're probably going to draft 2 offensive players, an offensive lineman and a receiver, or maybe an offensive lineman and a running back, or a receiver and a running back, whatever they do, whatever that combination is. It's most likely going to be 2 more offensive players, 2 more pieces to help Tua. Mm-hmm. It's all positives for Tua.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So go out and get yourself some shares of Tua Tagovailoa. Let's move on to the next guy, DJ Moore, because we're already pushing the time here. So DJ Moore. We were kind of having trouble with this one because Moore had a good season last year in some respects, but I think the quarterback play hurt him, and I think that there were other variables. Like there were some weeks where he was getting 10, 11, 12 targets, and then there were some weeks where he was getting 3. So it was kind of randomized when he was getting the opportunity, and obviously over the course of the whole season, he was pacing out to 120. He had a week where he was on the COVID list, but he had 126 targets, 70 receptions. This is paced out to a full 16, so add one more game to his total. 1,270 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think the big thing for him is he still had his 1,100 to 1,200 yards last year total. He didn't score any touchdowns, and it's because that offense was either scoring touchdowns through Christian McCaffrey or Mike Davis, or not scoring touchdowns at all. So, do you think Sam Bradford helps DJ Moore?
Sam Bradford. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Sam Darnold. I've done that I think twice on the show now.
Yeah,
I've called him Sam Bradford twice.
Last year, DJ Moore was someone who I had as a buy option in redraft. He was like a sleeper.
Does Sam Darnold?
That's why I'm getting there.
Okay.
I was sort of like, to put him on this list. But I'm like,
the more you think about it.
I do think, to answer your question, I do think Sam Darnold is better than Teddy Bridgewater. And there's people out there that don't think that. And
clearly the Carolina Panthers do.
And there's a lot of people
they
that
love themselves some Sam Bradford.
You did it again. How do you do it twice?
I did that one on purpose.
Oh, okay.
You catch the wink.
I did not see the wink.
Yeah.
I was about to flip out at you. Anyway, but like last year we were like, oh, he's going from Teddy Bridgewater, or he's going from Cam Newton to Teddy Bridgewater.
It's not a big
That's an
leap.
upgrade. And now we're like, oh, he's going from Sam Darnold to Teddy Bridgewater. That's a big upgrade. But it's like, is it?
It's not really a big upgrade, but it's there a little bit.
I think what I also like about DJ Moore, though, is what you said, the touchdowns. I think that's going to go up. I mean, 4 touchdowns. Yeah. I expect that to go up. As well as Curtis Samuel being gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's
never gotten over 4 touchdowns in a season, so he's had 2 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, Teddy Bridgewater. So, you could make the argument he hasn't had as good of a quarterback throwing the ball as Sam Darnold, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. That's
see
like 50.
I think the biggest thing for me is the vacated target share from Curtis Samuel not being there, and they didn't really.
Those are the two.
They still have Robbie Anderson, so
they do. But I mean, Curtis Samuel had, I don't know how many targets, but he had a good amount, and they brought in. They did bring in David Moore. Mm-hmm. But he's not gonna get
So I think when you talk about, especially I'm gonna pull up a little sheet I have for team opportunity for Carolina.
Curtis Samuel had 97 targets last season.
Wow.
So
right now Carolina has they have 28% vacated opportunities, and they added David Moore. So that means that if you were to say, because Robbie Anderson was targeted a lot by Teddy Bridgewater last year, but if you were to say, let's say that 10% goes to Robbie Anderson, and then the other 18 goes to DJ Moore. That's a massive increase in target share.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't
know that that's going to happen, but
it'll be spread out.
He'll go from getting 125 targets to possibly 150 targets. And that is,
if that happens,
if that happens, all he needs to do really is to increase his touchdown percentage and his catch rate. I did want to pull up just one more thing before we move on from DJ Moore. He had a 73% catchable target rate, which ranked 77 in the NFL. His target quality rating was 5.9, which was number 39 in the NFL. And then he had a catch rate of 56%, generally speaking, which is 93. His true catch rate didn't improve any above that, so he did have a problem with drops. Number 2 in the league. So there are some things there that he struggled with, and I don't know if it was Teddy. I don't know if it was him, but I think this is it with DJ Moore. Like if he doesn't play well this year, I'm 100%. Done. But I still believe in DJ Moore. I think he's worth a buy, and I think you should go out and do it. Now, as far as value is concerned of what it takes to get him, let's just pull that up real fast.
I think from what I've seen, it's not anything that's crazy. Like maybe a late first, early second sort of thing.
Yeah, it would be.
They have his value high.
Yeah, that would be a middle
higher than Clyde, higher than
middle first round pick. Yeah, so he's going to take a little bit of money to go out.
But again,
I would
this is what their thing is. This is what he probably should be. Do people view DJ Moore as a worth middle first round pick?
Yeah, just check out your league. I mean, if you can get him for a late first or early second, I would do it.
I think I could get him in the league for at least like the 110.
Yeah,
which I would do.
So quickly, Miles Sanders. We had an honorable mention, which is T. Higgins. So do as you will with that.
Yeah, T. Higgins big time, but they're gonna draft if they draft a wide receiver. Yeah. I think that would be the big time to buy T. Higgins, because then people are gonna be like, oh crap, they just drafted someone. I got to get rid of him.
So Miles Sanders is the next guy and the final guy on our list. He had an interesting season last year, and Rick was like, I don't know if I want to buy. Did he have a good season? And I'm like, at the end of the season, he actually was pretty good.
Well, I was asking you because I don't remember.
With Hurts,
was he good at the end?
With Hurts past the 2 inactive games from week 9 all the way to week 16, he had 213 rushing attempts, which totaled 990 yards, 7 touchdowns, 62 targets, 37 catches for 242 yards. So he was around 1,100 yards over that stretch with 7 touchdowns. It got even better with, what did you say, Hurts? Which game did he start playing in?
I want to say it was Green Bay.
So in that game, 224 carries, 1,068 rushing yards, 56 targets, 36 receptions, 296 receiving yards. So his target share went down. He struggled through the air, but he still would have had a pretty decent season. And I think he's a low-end running back one.
To be fair, that Green Bay game, which kind of ruins his stats, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Jalen Hurts came into that game. He didn't start.
Oh, okay.
Because his first start, I think, was against the
Saints.
Saints.
For the other ones.
Yeah.
Bang. I don't know why he didn't start this freaking game. It's idiots. I hate Doug Peterson. Such an idiot. So over the course of those games for Jalen Hurts, from week 13 to 15, which is a small sample size, he paced out to 245 carries, 48 catches, 395 receiving yards, and 1,259 rushing yards with 16 total touchdowns. If that's what he does with Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback next year, all bets are off. Miles Sanders, top 6 running back.
Yeah.
If he does that. I think right now he's still going to take a lot of capital to purchase. He's going to be a lot of capital. And
he might be cheaper on here than DJ Moore.
He's a little bit cheaper than DJ Moore, yeah. But he's still going to take a middle first round pick.
Yeah.
In Superflex and standard leagues. So and you might need to even throw in like a second or third.
But again,
third round.
This is a weak running back draft, I think, other than Najee Harris and maybe one of like Travis Etienne or what's the other guy's name from North Carolina?
Javonte Williams.
One of Javonte Williams or Etienne, in my opinion. That I really only think there's gonna be 2, maybe 3 guys that really have real relevant fantasy careers. So if I'm a team that needs a running back, I would 100% call the team that has Miles Sanders. If I have like the 106, the 107, anything like that, and then maybe throw in like a third and try to get that deal done.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would definitely like it doesn't hurt to contact the person who has him and just see what the value is on Miles Sanders. I'm in a league where I'm rebuilding and I need another running back, and I'd love to go out and get Miles Sanders, but I traded all my picks away.
I know.
All my first rounders. AJ Brown, Antonio Gibson, and who else did I get? Who's the quarterback I got?
Dak.
All right. Oh, I can't believe I got Dak. It's been a while since I looked at that league.
Yeah, you got Dak.
Anyway, so yeah, go out, check to see if Miles Sanders is available and if he's somebody that you can actually get. He's going to take a little bit more, but I think it's a solid buy.
Yep.
Do you have any more thoughts on Miles Sanders?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. There you go. Those are our 5 dynasty buys here right before the NFL draft. So be sure to reach out to your managers and say, hey, I want to make a trade. So let's make a trade. And then pull those deals and get these guys on your team, and you won't regret it. Don't forget to check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'll talk to you Thursday. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.